Turn the phone off. All right, so we are going to go ahead and get started. And as people come in, we'll watch the comments and all that good stuff. All right, so thank you guys so much for tuning in to another week of Dear Entrepreneur. I am here with Miss Brandy Fox, and I'll give her a second to introduce herself. So this month on Dear Entrepreneur, we're doing something a little bit different. I thought it was National Literacy Month. It's so many different like recognition things on the calendar. So I decided to spotlight business authors because that's what we talk about, how to brand yourself, how to do things right for business. And so I put it out there. And of course, Brandy was one of the great people who responded. So this is week 3. Next week is Thanksgiving, of course, which I'm like shocked. This month has flown by and I feel like I'm a whole week behind.
We're a whole week behind.
A whole week behind. I thought we had more time, but next week is the holiday. So next week, if you've been following the Dear Entrepreneur series, we normally meet every Thursday at 7:00. But with next week being the holiday, we're actually going to do Dear Entrepreneur on Tuesday. And I have another author lined up, so make sure you mark your calendar for Tuesday instead of Thursday because I didn't want to shorten the month as it already has gone by so fast. So let's go ahead and jump into the conversation. And if you're watching, please make sure you ask questions and put your comments in the chat so that we can see them and get your answers. After this, if you follow me also on Instagram, we're going to post the video to our pages. So if you have any questions, of course, you can tag us there as well. So Brandy, thank you so much for joining me. Yeah. Brandy is a beast out in this business streets.
Girl.
So introduce yourself, tell us who you are and what you do.
Definitely. Well, I am Brandy Fox, and I am the owner of Pamper Us Mobile Massage Service and B.The.Entrepreneur Consulting Agency. Pamper Us Mobile Massage Service, that was my first business I started in 2011. And it's a mobile spa and massage party here in the Charlotte metro area. And we just expanded out to the Greensboro Triad area. So super excited about that. Girl, a whole nother beast. But, and my secondary business is B.The.Entrepreneur. B.The.Entrepreneur. And that is a startup consulting agency. And basically, I help new and aspiring entrepreneurs start their business within 30 days. And we go from the vision phase all the way to business plan, teaching you how to pitch if you're looking for investors. We take you through a whole 8-book series that'll help you get what you need done. And I'm excited to talk more about that today.
Wow, 8 books. So literally from vision to concept to we live. 30 days.
30 days. If you're ready, and I say 30 days, and of course, you put the disclaimer in there that this is not guaranteed. But right. I will say, if you're an entrepreneur that's kind of already done like the research, like a lot of entrepreneurs, the serious entrepreneurs, they kind of already know what they are going to do. Like they know the basic information. So all they really need is kind of like professional guidance. So with them, they ready. You give them the ebook, they gone. Because a lot of stuff that's in there, they kind of already done thought about. But if you're somebody who's just like, hey, I want to start a business and, you just hop in there, you might need additional assistance like consultants to kind of help with it. It walks you through everything.
Okay, so let's go back. So you started with Pamper Us Mobile, which I love your services, and I definitely need to book them at some point in time.
Yes.
So from Pamper Us Mobile to B.The.Entrepreneur, the business coach, how did that transition? Well, not really transition. How did that additional step in your business look for you, and how did that lead you to writing this book series?
I would say for me, well, March will be my 10 years. So I would say the experience of, girl, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Like it snuck up on me. But I'm excited because I started Pamper Us when I was 20. So to be able to start a business that young and be able to kind of sustain it and get to where I am now, it's just super exciting. But the transition came because when I did Pamper Us, a lot of my friends, family members, they would hit me up and be like, hey, they ask me business questions all the time. So I was constantly like answering business questions, meeting with people. So my homegirl, Jania, Jania. Jania, you know how she is. She was like, friend, you need to start monetizing this. I'm like, Lord, I was like, oh, I don't really want to because I just love giving the information. Like, I love to help, especially minority entrepreneurs, kind of get their business started the right way.
Right.
So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. So I just kind of started with just posting and providing information. And then I started consulting and like people started booking, and then it's just kind of been growing and going since then.
Good. So, and people, it's so much easier to be trustworthy when people can see you and follow your journey and see your success, because it validates, of course, that you know what it is that you're talking about. So you started booking consultations with startups and businesses. So how did you go from the consulting to the book phase? Like, how did you decide it was time to put it on paper?
Exactly. So I was like, it's just so much information. And I felt like even though I love one-on-one consulting, it's just so limited in the number of people I can really reach. You know what I'm saying? It's only so many hours a day, which means there's a maximum on who I can impact. So I was like, I got to find another way to get this information out. You know what I'm saying? I love the one-on-one, but it's really the information I want people to have, especially new entrepreneurs. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna write a little ebook. So I'm thinking, I'm just gonna write a little boom. But then when I started writing it, I'm like, it's no way I
Put the pen down.
process in one book. I couldn't do it. It was no way possible to put it in one book. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna write 8. I'm just gonna write out each phase of how to start a business, and I'm gonna write an ebook for each one. And I literally did that. Like it started I got the board in my room, but it started on a little board with some index cards, and then girl, we just started working from there, book by book.
And that's interesting you say that, because last week, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Lily Mae and the Glambitious brand, but she's
Uh-uh.
really big on digital products. She was based out of Atlanta, but she's now here in Charlotte, and she has like a series. She's like the digital product queen. She has ebooks and everything. And so you said, it started with books, like, and then you wrote each book. And one of the things she said was, when you're writing, do the 10 topics, and then write from there. So it's interesting that you both kind of have the same process. So definitely when it's time for me to do it again, that's something that I'm going to, think about how to outline and how to create the strategy. Because when I wrote my book, I just sat down and I kind of put it in topics, but it was more like, okay, I'm writing and now I can't stop. And then I had to go back and organize it. But I can see how, organizing it will make it, a lot easier to focus and edit and different things like that. So starting a business in 30 days, of course, like you said, you got to be ready. You got to come to the table with what you need, what you want, what your end goal is. And you said it's an 8-book series. What's one thing that you find that when people come to you that they're missing the most, that kind of turned it into one of the most important tips for the book series?
I would say, the thing they miss the most is the importance of a process. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people get caught up in wanting to get straight to the fun stuff, like the branding, the logo, the Instagram, start posting. People love that part. Like that's the fun part. That's cool. And that's it. That is important. But that's not the first thing you should be worried about when you start a business. The first thing you should be worried about is that foundation. Are you registered? Do you have a tax EIN number? So those small things are things that I realize that minority businesses are missing it on the forefront. So then what happens is when it's time for something like this pandemic that happened, it's a lot of minority businesses that suffered because they didn't have their foundation business places. They've been running their business for 5 years, but you don't have a tax EIN number. So now you can't even, certain
Anything.
exactly. So for me, I just want to help minority businesses start their business the right way. I feel like everybody else know the secrets. Asian people got their thing, Muslims got everybody got their thing, and I feel like we don't. And I'm like, why are we missing the gap? And I'm like, because the information is not out there. People literally don't know, and we're not sharing it. We good for a crabs in the barrel mindset. So I'm like, you know what? I'm getting this out to everybody.
And I'm glad you said that, because that kind of hit home for me during the pandemic, because I've had my agency for 8 years, but for a long time, I ran mine as a sole proprietorship because it's just me. And I didn't think about, things like, oh my God, this could happen. And then now we have all these resources and I was just like, you know what? I'll take the L this time. But
Right.
But this was the year that I actually had decided before all this even happened to say, okay, this is the year that I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, and putting the business on paper was one of them because my goals went up another level, and I recognized that by doing that, I had to make sure I had my stuff in order to be ready to go to the next level. So it's a learning opportunity, but everything is everything. And so now when these grants come around next year, guess who's ready? Your girl. Let's
Run
get
me
it.
my check. Run it.
Right. So and it's absolutely nothing wrong with running your business as a sole proprietorship, but like Brandy said, you gotta think about some of those things that, just may happen. And like now, nobody would have ever thought that all these thousands and millions of dollars worth of free money was gonna come about. So you you gotta be ready. You
You
gotta
gotta
be
be
ready.
ready, girl. I felt like they was making it rain on us. I'm like, oh, this one, that one, this one. It was like, how do you want it? And I'm like,
Right.
mm-hmm. But and even if you are a sole proprietor, you can still get your tax EIN number.
Right.
So don't definitely still do it, even if you don't get an LLC. Oh, and the other thing, just one other important thing that a lot of people get confused about is like the LLC. That's the first thing they ask. They be like, yeah, I looked online, I was gonna get that LLC thing, but it was 125. So it's like, understand that you don't have to come out with a corporate identity off the rip. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? If you want to take some time and run your business a little bit and see what you need to do, especially if it's your first time being an entrepreneur, then that's cool. Go as a sole proprietor, get your tax EIN number, make sure you file your tax EIN number. They'll file it under 1040. Boom. You can create all the income at one time. They file it as one income. So, yeah.
I'm sorry,
I know
y'all.
you good, girl. I know how it be.
I'm a mompreneur, and sometimes
Girl.
I don't know. These last few weeks, for some reason, every time I go live, my child interrupts me. But all before, I've had no issues, so I don't know. But we have Tiffany Joy, who's also one of my PR sisters. Hey, Tiffany, she's recommending also to apply for S corp status for the tax break. So you definitely have to, know what you need in business. And of course, if you don't know what you need, that's why we're talking with Miss Brandy, Be the Entrepreneur, so she can take you through that process and give you the ins and outs of what you need. So writing the book, you kind of already gave it as far as your process. But if somebody, wanted to write a book, like what would you tell them to do? What would be one piece of advice you would give somebody on writing their own book?
If you want to write your own book, research. Right. If you're gonna write your own book, write your own book. What I've noticed in this pandemic is people have kind of been taking like I'm gonna say the cheap way. I mean, I ain't even gonna lie. I feel like it's cool to pay somebody maybe to adapt your ebook, but don't. I feel like if you really want to be an expert, if you really want to get this information and connect with your audience, you want to make sure that you're really writing your ebook. A lot of people I know have been using like ghostwriters. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's definitely quicker or whatever, but you want to like, I know when I wrote all 8 of my ebooks, it made me feel good that I took my knowledge, my experience, everything that I've learned, my trial and errors, I was able to put that in the book to help other people not make those same mistakes.
Right.
And, that's what I feel like, the goal should be when you write your ebook, have a purpose. You know what I'm saying? Know what you want to do, focus on that purpose and build your book around that.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. And Tiffany, who's actually on here, she kind of talked about that. She was the first person that we brought on for the author series. Her book is now out, Prior Until, but that's the same thing she said. With the editing process, you have to make sure that it's in your voice. People who know you are going to know that, especially if they're reading the book and they know you personally, they're going to look for your personality, to come through and make sure that it's written, in your own genuine voice. So even if you do
Right.
get an ebook or get a ghostwriter, you have to make sure they are putting it in your words, in your voice tone.
Exactly.
So Tiffany, Brandy's book is How to Start a Business in 30 Days. And it's actually a book series. So Miss Brandy wrote 8 books for
Girl,
the
ain't them
people.
things for the people.
For the
Um,
people. So you have to get it. So how can they purchase the book? And if they actually want to sit down with you, how can they connect with you to consult and you take them through that 30-day process?
Definitely. So if you consider yourself like a self-starter, I know I consult with some people and we consult a few times and then they like, hey, I can do it. So if you consider yourself a self-starter, you can get the ebook on my website at www.betheentrepreneur.com. And I will put that in the chat as well. And just go to the website, go to our digital store, and it has the whole ebook series. So you can buy specifically what you need. Like I have one ebook that's all about budgeting and templates. So it has the forecasting template. It has all the templates you kind of need to start a business. So you kind of can either choose the business plan, which is everything all in one, or if you have specific areas you want to work on, you can. So that's the benefit of that. And if you are looking for a more one-on-one experience, you can book your consultation appointment as well on our website at www.B.The.Entrepreneur.com. And we have one-on-one sessions starting from $20 for a 15-minute session up to our 60-minute session. And we actually just launched, thank you, we actually just launched our Ask Now session. So basically what that is an instant video chat. All you would have to do if we're friends on Facebook or if you want to send an email, all you have to do is just send me a 60-second video of your business barrier. Like let's say you stuck on one thing. You just put that in the video, you send it to me. I send you a request for $10. You pay the $10, and I guarantee you a response to your business questions within 48 hours. So that is so that's just a good way for entrepreneurs. I know sometimes timing and finances can keep you from getting the help you need, and I want to eliminate all barriers. So if you have a quick question and you want to get some advice about that startup process, $10, send me that video, and we can go ahead and get that question taken care of for you.
Perfect. So, Brandy, thank you so much for coming on and joining me today. Of course, you all know if you've been following me, you know that I also have an ebook out. It's available on my website as well. Mine is Dear Entrepreneur, and it's a letter basically to entrepreneurs and taking you through the branding process. What Brandy said was the fun part, like the logo, name, and colors and stuff. So that is what I have, taking you through giving your brand a voice, and then talking about the rebranding process for those people who actually want to, look at either changing a name or changing a logo or what to consider, because that's something that I experienced about 3 years ago where I did a complete name change, name, logo, colors, everything. So it's written from my experience and giving you some, definite steps that you can use to get that done. So that book is available on my website at maddiclaybpr.com. You can also book a consultation with me on maddiclaybpr.com, whether it be a brand strategy session where we sit down for 1 hour and talk about your brand goals and what you need and the tools and resources, or if you need a publicist, you can also book a PR consultation as well. So thank you guys so much. Brandy, this has been great.
That was, girl, this is good.
I
We was in
know.
and
I
out.
hadn't seen
Boom,
you face to
boom.
face in so long. We need to catch up. And
Yeah, we haven't. It's been a minute.
yeah. So once outside really opens up, I have some connections that I need to rekindle, and you're definitely on that list.
Oh yeah, girl, we're gonna hit the city. Girl, they doing all this construction. We ready. Charlotte ready for us. They ready for post-pandemic.
We ready. And everybody, today is Women's Entrepreneur Day. So for all our boss girls out there, today is yours. And hope you've had a great day and you've made, some things happen on this day that's been honored to recognize us women in business. So turn up.
Turn up.
Turn up, let your hair down, relax, because we know that as women, we do so much more than just run businesses. We have families, we have jobs, we have so many things.
Girl, keep going. Just go down the list. Just
right.
Don't stop.
A never ending list. So thank you guys again. Again, next week we will be doing Dear Entrepreneur on Tuesday at 7:00, and I have another business author who will be joining us. So please make sure you mark your calendar and tune in. This video will also be available on my Instagram page, and of course it'll be here if you missed out on something. If you have any questions, please make sure you ask questions in the comments and tag either myself or Brandy so that we can be sure to answer you. And of course, if you have any questions and you want to do the Ask Me Now service, make sure you reach out to Brandy. She is a great resource on setting up your business. She's been very successful. And like she said, in 10 years, she's gone from expanding her business into adding a whole nother entity of business. So she's definitely somebody who can help you with whatever you need in understanding that business process. So thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Bye.